If you're a Kendrick Lamar cultist like me, you are probably loving life right now. As someone who grew up on West Coast music, GNX has completely revived my soul. So in this video, I'm breaking down how to make a classic West Coast beat inspired by Reincarnated. That track of course samples a Tupac classic and brings back the iconic 90s production style. So I'm going to show you how to do something similar. Let's dive straight into it. So to start off, we want some inspiration from a classic Tupac track as well. The track that I'm going with is my favorite Tupac track, Until the End of Time, which samples Broken Wings by Mr. Mister. It's got this insane, ethereal, mystical vibe, and the drum pattern has this really dope syncopation which we're going to take inspiration from. So starting off with a drum rack, I've just loaded up a few sounds. We're just going to need the basics like a kick, a snare and a hat, but I want to also use a shaker, another hat and then a tambourine. I'm going to start off by setting the pace with the shaker, and to do this I just like to draw in individual notes and then just have like an alternating velocity pattern. Now of course with a snare, when it comes to things like boom bap or trap, you'd be expecting to put it in a very specific place like the 2 and 4, but here we're going to do something that you hear in a lot of West Coast beats, and you hear it in the Reincarnated track as well. So the second snare is going to be there on the 4, but instead of having the snare here, we're going to move this earlier. So that first snare hit just coming in before the second beat just creates a whole new different vibe somehow. And then the tambourine, which is like a clap tambourine, can come in on that second snare. And just make sure you're playing around with velocities at all times, so we'll turn that down. And then we can start throwing in the kick. Now with the other two hats, we can just do some rolls in different places and just start filling out the syncopation a bit. See, it makes such a big difference just having different things doing these different rhythms. It just all comes together to create something that's just really easy to nod your head to. And then for the final hat, we'll just have it come in near the end. So that's our full drum beat for now. We can always add more layers if we need to, especially as the beat progresses. Next up, we're going to go on to the bass, because the rhythm is such a vital part of the classic West Coast production. The progression is simply going to be going from G down to F. And then to jazz it up and make it sound more like a 90s style, we're going to make a little pattern out of it, and it's just going to be this. So it just sounds a bit more interesting, sounds more like an actual bass guitar. Simple AF, we're just going to quantize it. Now that we've got the rhythm going, we want to start adding melodic elements, and this is where a lot of the fun is going to be, because you can literally just add in so many different sounds, so many different patterns, and it's just going to be really, really beautiful when it all comes together, I think. So we're going to start off firstly with a tubular bell. When I think of Until the End of Time, Hail Mary, those sort of tracks, I just always imagine this sort of bell sound. Now, like I mentioned, we just want to add in one by one different instruments to start filling this out. And the first one we're going to do will be a piano, and I'm just going to literally do basically the chord of the G and then the F. Next up, I want to add an electric piano sound in to do basically the same sort of chords. Now in Until the End of Time, there's this really, really cool pad sound that goes throughout the whole thing, and I love that sound so much that I want to have something similar in terms of a pad string, and I just want it to sit in like the higher frequencies, being low in the mix but just keeping us ticking along. And now I'm thinking about it, why not just have in a sample of Until the End of Time? Oh, that guitar will sound really cool, I think, actually. And then we'll EQ out the lows and the highs to get just that sort of pad sound. Now the drums obviously are in there as well, but there's a really good plugin you can use to take out different parts of a sample, and I've been using this a lot recently. So it's called Remix, and all I'm going to do is just press mute on the drums. So you can hear it's instantly taking them out pretty well. So some might say that is a completely unnecessary step, but I think it just adds something that isn't necessarily easy to pick up by ears, but you can feel it there. So just a nice little guitar single note. Next up, a really important part of the Reincarnated track is the strings, which just sound absolutely amazing. We're going to keep it relatively simple and try to maybe layer together a few different strings that can hopefully make it sound really lush, cinematic and epic. So I can't lie, it took me a few attempts of messing about until I came out with a little melody line that I think is pretty cool, so we can now just expand upon that. So that can work for now, and then we can just add like another string that does something quicker, pizzicato, something like that. But before we do another string, I want to do now what I think is going to be the main piano melody. And this is of course something which makes Reincarnated so good because of that original Tupac sample, which is, I guess, recreated. Perhaps I was addicted to the dark side. Somewhere inside my childhood witnessed my heart die. And even though we both came from the same place, if the money and the fame, it just all changed places. How could it be? I think that sounds really dope. I think it fits the vibe. Maybe we can just add one more melodic sound just to finish things off. Perfect. I think that is the final thing we needed. My next video is going to be another Kendrick tutorial doing some club banger beats, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Have a good one. Peace out.